ladies and gentlemen, I'm continuing on the line that I was talking about. Now, while Wonder Woman continues to bank some serious box office, we had some detractors of the movie. This was one from Bazaar. It said, "Why Wonder Woman is bittersweet for black women." And this was an article done by Cameron Glover. And this had some merit in it, so I'll go into it in some detail. And the other one was "Why Wonder Woman is Not So Wonderful But Black Women" by Colette Guy. And this was for the Huffington Post, and I don't know why they let her print it, because it literally makes no sense to me at all. It has no substance whatsoever. It's just her opinion, and that's basically what it is. For instance, I'll give you an example. "While the rest of the world is going crazy over the reintroduction of DC's Wonder Woman, I'm squirming in my brown skin by the notion that the underlying message in this movie, white women can only be praised as being superhero wonderful. So for another 70 or so years, young girls of color are getting the same message I did. Just when I had begun to think that black women had found their voice, a place to fit in, and a place to stand out, here comes Wonder Woman, the alien being who comes to Earth disguised as a perfect and powerful white woman." Now, I guess she knows about comic book lore, or she probably doesn't. But quite frankly, if you look at Themyscira, you got so many powerful black women on that island, and so many who were senators. Okay, we had a number of senators on that island. We had a number of black warriors who were incredible. We had women doing all kinds of things on that island, and they were all comrades. So it's really weird to hear this statement being made. Not to mention, Nubia is a black Wonder Woman. For those if she doesn't know, Nubia is a black Wonder Woman. So Wonder Woman was a prominent movie, but it wasn't because she was white. I mean, she's talking to, I believe his name was Sammy, and Sammy seemed to have come from Africa. And Sammy was talking about not being the right color. So I really don't understand it per se, where they're coming from. Gal is good looking, but I mean, I just don't get it. Black Panther's coming around next year. I just don't get it. I don't get it. But whatever. This article didn't make any sense. It was based on opinion. So she's going on. "From the moment they began airing previews of this movie, I became outraged. Not for the reasons that some feminists may find this movie insulting. Firstly, because like most little black girls who grew up in the 70s, I was traumatized by these alien superhero beings who represented only one part of the wonderful women in the world." So her thing was this is a petty irks on her part. She got triggered, and so she's writing this article. I don't know why the Huffington Post actually allowed her to print this. This is just okay, so let's just move from that, okay? Because that's just so ridiculous, it's not funny. Let's go to Bazaar. Now, Bazaar was done, Cameron Glover actually has a little bit of substance in what she's saying. She talks about the different tropes that have been attributed to women. So, in her article, she speaks about the opening scene with Diana and her tutor. And her tutor happens to be a black woman. And she says that the black woman is taking on the trope of the mammy figure. The massa servant mammy figure. The black woman who raised the white kids of, the white mistress of the household in the slave trade. So I get that. That is true. You got to give her props for understanding and seeing that. The second thing she says, which I thought was somewhat of substance, was that whenever black women are depicted in movies, or black people period, they're depicted as super duper 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 strong. Okay, not necessarily super smart, but definitely super strong. They're depicted as the muscle. And it seemed as though Anne Wolfe's Artemis looked like that. Okay, so I get that. I get where that trope that she's talking about. But then she's being very disingenuous, or I should say even deceiving, when she goes and stops right there and says that's all these women were on that island. There were a number of women on this island, especially in this conversation here with Diana is having with her mother. There are black women on this island who are senators. and she addresses the senators. They don't get a whole lot of lines, but they're senators. We have women on that island. Actually, the woman that actually brought reason to Hippolyta when Hippolyta was going to kill Steve Trevor, she was coming at him and said, and most of the white women actually were saying, let's just kill him and be done with it. It was a black senator, again, a black woman, who said, we need to know where he came from, who he is, so that we can know what we're facing or what we're up against if anybody else should visit this island. She was the voice of reason. So I must say, and the woman who did this is an esteemed actor, by the way, so she got much more lines, obviously. But the point is that while I will say the black actors did not get a lot of dialogue notes and so on. In fact, if you think about the Asian actors, they didn't get any lines, period. They were showcased, but they were showcased in action. So if you want to call that a stereotypical trope, fine. But the Asian actors who actually were involved in the action scenes were actually stunt women and martial artists. So, so that's where you'd mostly see them featured in, okay? But anyway, the point is that as much as she spoke about certain tropes, she either purposefully or otherwise left out other things which show these black actors and these black people to be more than just those tropes. And I found that to be very sad that they were not able to do that. Yes, when we look at the colored actors in this movie, they didn't get major roles. But it's a huge step up from Mad Max Fury Road. It's a huge step up from most of the Hollywood movies out there today. I'm talking about Hollywood, period. Okay. Every now and then we get a black movie where we have mostly black actors. And they say, oh, you can have your own movie, you know. Very rarely do you see, except for really outstanding ones like Will Smith. Again, if you look at the DCEU, it is already pioneered. It's already pioneered and blazed the trail. They're talking about Black Panther, and that's going to have a black lead. Well, guess what? DC already did that. It's Suicide Squad and Will Smith's character. So I'm just saying. All right? I'm just saying. So if you're talking about the DCEU, they're very progressive and they're very forward-thinking. And as much as people bashed Suicide Squad, which was sad, the critics, that is, not people, but the critics bashed Suicide Squad because they wanted to bash something. You gotta admit that when it comes to the diversity of the cast, the different backgrounds of the cast, and even the likability of the cast, you couldn't go wrong with that. The movie, the characters of the movie were very, very interesting. Very, very interesting characters. So anyway, my point is that the, again, unfair criticism of this movie, expecting this movie to do more than it should, because Wonder Woman has never been, well, she has been colored, but she hasn't been a black person. She's never been a black person. That's why we have Nubia, who is the black Wonder Woman. So unless you're doing a Wonder Woman movie on Nubia, you cannot do a Wonder Woman movie. Well, you could if you want to. I mean, you can do it elsewhere or lore. But it makes no sense having Wonder Woman as a black person. And why does she have to be a black person? If she's a black person, then the Asians could be offended about Wonder Woman. The Middle Easterns can be offended by Wonder Woman. Oh, they're not representing our race. They're not representing our peoples. Why does she have to be any specific race or color? So, I think if they want to have her as a white person, which she is, Gal Gadot is a white person. Gal may not consider herself white, and I understand why. But she's a white person in this world we live in. Even though she does not look like a white person, if you're really being honest, She doesn't have that blue eyes, blonde hair, straight nose. Gal's nose is kind of straight, but not really. Her mouth is different. She has more of a Middle Eastern looking face, if you're really being honest with yourself. She does kind of look Grecian, though. She does kind of look Greek. Maybe she has some Greek ancestry. But the point, anyway, is this. Say what you want. Gal can't even speak English like how we speak English. Gal has a, thick accent and stuff. And I'm just saying, you're going to hate on somebody like that. She was the best possible person for the job they could find at the point in time. You want them to find a blackish, whitish, mixed breed, stockish, strong Wonder Woman. It's like, dude, first of all, Wonder Woman never was a big, bulky person. She never was. I just don't understand these people. But they say, you can't please everyone. But the ridiculousness that I see out here. Anyway, her article had some merit to it. So that's why I highlighted her stuff. But I just wanted to talk about these people, man. These people who just want to pick apart and hate on something. Because they're filled with so much hate in their hearts. That they just had to hate on this. I don't see that for Spider-Man Homecoming. I'm sure I'm not going to see that for Captain Marvel. We ain't going to have all this stupid talk. All these other movies that came out. We had movies such as Fantastic Four. Nobody said shit. Right? When we had X-Men, nobody said nothing. When we had what's that movie? The movie where with that woman lead. We had Marvel the Avengers. Nobody said squat. Not squat about black woman. And there was not a single black woman in so many Hollywood movies. Now we actually have black women in movies. A movie that represents almost everybody. And all of a sudden, you're coming and talking about how irritated you are for black women. Come on, man. I know. You see, there's a ridiculousness in how people respond to the DCEU. They know they can bash it. They know they can bash the DCEU, so they try to bash. And they look for something to bash and nitpick. This is nitpicking. If you thought that the movie wasn't going to represent you, don't go see it. If you are angry about the fact that the movie doesn't represent you, why are you going to see it then? So, I just don't get it. If you can't identify with a movie, why would you go see something you don't identify? To hate on it? Then you're stupid. So, I just don't get these people. This is why I'm making these videos. I want to show you how stupid sometimes people can be. And that's the problem I have. This article achieves absolutely nothing. I don't even understand why Bazaar even allowed this article to be published. Because it achieves nothing. It's good. It's good to... freedom of the press, so do whichever you want. But what I'm saying is that I get the tropes that were given in the movie. But if you're going to nitpick this movie, of all movies, about tropes, then just remember, Hollywood has a history of doing this. Okay? You go and watch the Avengers movie, you're going to see that trope. Okay? And that's not even with women, because they ain't even have black women in that movie. It's with black men. The trope. The sidekick. The help. Okay? So if you're really going to go down that road, and you're really going to go down... Iron Man got Jodie. Captain America got a black dude. Falcon. Right? So you got War Machine and you got Falcon. They're just sidekicks. They're there to help out the main white guy. If you're really going to be serious about it and talk about massa this and massa that, you better start talking about those movies. Otherwise, what the hell are you opening your mouth to say? Why are you talking about this now? And that's the hypocrisy I have with these political people with political agendas. You won't say anything about Marvel. You kiss its butt. But when it comes to DC and the DCEU, you have everything bad to say about it. Every little cockamamie from its little hole comes out and has something bad to say about it. Why don't you just go back in your hole? That's the thing I'm annoyed about. Right? So, like I said, there's hate on the DCEU, and it's still there. And you're going to see that hate again for Justice League for sure. Even if the movie's awesome. Because people can't sit down and watch a movie, watch the story, follow the story, and then be able to judge a movie based on the story. They're not judging movies anymore based on their story. They're judging movies based on their allegiance. So you're actually going to the cinema paying money to hate on a movie, which is so stupid. I don't know why. Why would somebody do something stupid like that? But you're invested in your little area. You want to show that your area is superior to the, even though your area is just crap. It's crap compared to the other area. But you got to prove it by tearing down, because you can't build back up. You can't build your area better than that one. So you have to tear down the other one to make your area feel good and make your area feel fine. I know there are a lot of Marvel fans out there. Alright? You will not see me saying anything negative about Spider-Man Homecoming, even if I go see it. You won't see me doing that. Because I know it's not about tearing down things. It's about building up things. I haven't gone and seen Spider-Man Homecoming. I haven't gone back and watched Wonder Woman yet. Because I don't have the money to do both. But would I go and watch Spider-Man Homecoming? Hell yeah. Would I go and watch Wonder Woman again? Hell yeah. Because you see, ladies and gentlemen, it's not about, oh, so I support Wonder Woman, but I don't support Spider-Man. I can support both if I want to. I can support anything I want to do. Once I have the money for it, I'll go into cinema and watch the both of them. Because as far as I'm concerned, it's never been about allegiances. It's always been about, what is the story telling me? But why you see me making these videos on DCEU movies is because I feel they're unjustly, and erroneously, by stupid people, being put down. And that's why you see me making these movies. You can call me defender, you can call me what you want. But I don't like seeing things unfairly and unjustly bashed for no reason at all by some people who have nothing to do better with their time than tear down something that somebody has built. You guys are a great one.